BlockFi, big time crypto lender, keeps getting some notices from state regulators that one of the products that they're offering may not be fully kosher. This is their interest account in which depositors put crypto. They're entitled to certain yields, and on the back end, state regulators allege they're not doing it right. The way that they're commingling funds and producing these yields may run afoul of state securities laws. We had a couple scoops yesterday. The one yesterday that we're going to talk about first is about Texas. It's the latest regulator following in the footsteps of New Jersey and Alabama to take a look at this practice and to see if there's anything off here. We ultimately ended up talking to someone from the Alabama securities regulator who said, hey, I think a lot of states are going to take a look at this. And see if it runs afoul of their securities laws as well. BlockFi, for their part, they maintain that this is a lawful product, and they intend to hopefully get some clarity and some closure from this wave of state regulators who are getting in touch with them over the course of this week. I'm going to toss this right to Will. BlockFi, big-time crypto lender in the space, seems to be drawing the attention of regulators in a serious way. What's your take on this?
Yeah, for sure. I think in general, it kind of speaks to a few points. First of all, like the state versus federal level of regulation is interesting, where you have New Jersey, you have Texas, you have Alabama coming out of the woodwork to levy some accusations against BlockFi. Will the federal government also come out later and have their own accusations against the company, or will they have their own opinions about the product that BlockFi is using, the SEC specifically there? Or will more states come out, or will just kind of stay the same with those three current states? So that's interesting in and of itself. It's also interesting because BlockFi is perhaps one of the best brands in crypto so far. The fact, like a lot of Americans have Bitcoin at this point. They do. Like there's been some surveys out there showing like at least 30% or more of Americans have some sort of like financial allocation towards Bitcoin, even if it's just a little bit. And BlockFi allows anyone to earn interest on that Bitcoin, which I think for the pet rock theory of Bitcoin, like they have an answer for that. They have a solution for that. You can earn interest on it and make Bitcoin even more of a savings vehicle. And so I know that just speaking from a lot of people who are just tangential to the space or like kind of in the greater ecosystem, they know about BlockFi, they care about BlockFi, and they use BlockFi. And to see one of the more bellwether companies in this space, even though it's young, to get this kind of legislation or these actions against it, it's not great for where we're at in the bull market, in my opinion. I think it speaks to just more of what's coming down the pipeline, and then also where we're at right now in terms of Bitcoin's price. I think that we haven't quite priced in all the regulatory actions that are to come. Notably, this also comes after the DeFi and stablecoin rhetoric coming out of the US federal government. So I mean, there's a lot going on the regulatory front, and I think it's just more to come over the next 6 months as we close out the year.
Can we just note that like New Jersey and Alabama and Texas are not traditionally bedfellows in some of these things? I thought that was a really interesting mix in terms of Alabama and Texas kind of following suit on this one. I do think it's a little bit of the case to kind of follow the leader. Like once one state kind of takes action against a company, particularly because BlockFi is headquartered in New Jersey, I think that other states find it a little bit easier to follow suit and maybe follow some of the language that initial securities sort of cease and desist came out with. We should note that a judge has not signed off on the Texas cease and desist. That still has to happen before that kind of goes to the next phase in this regard. And I also think another interesting note about that one in particular is we got some stats out of this in terms of adoption around BlockFi and who's being involved. I believe there were about 25,000 residents in Texas with almost 690 million in assets on the platform. And to me, that could be another kind of interesting outpouring of this is we're going to get some more transparency into how the company's functioning, what's actually going on behind the scenes in a way that we've not yet previously.
Yeah, and the timing here is really unfortunate for BlockFi. We did a little reporting yesterday as well. They are supposedly days away from closing their Series E round, which would bring in $500 million of venture capital, something like a $4.75 billion valuation. And in investor materials seen by CoinDesk, plans for going public within 12 to 18 months are on the table. So for this to be in the works, for them to be hit with these notices from various states, unfortunate timing on their part, but certainly facilitating a lot of interesting conversations on the regulatory front. Jen, take it away.
We should just call this the regulatory domino effect. I feel like once one regulator does something, we see the other ones kind of just pop up and copy them. But what I liked about this, the one little gold nugget for me, is that they're being given the opportunity to respond and present evidence against the claims. I think they have until October, so that gives them some time to defend themselves. I don't think that we saw that in New Jersey. I think they were told to immediately stop offering the service in New Jersey. And someone correct me if I'm wrong. So I thought that was the one little gold nugget for them in this.
So they can't onboard new clients in New Jersey, but existing services are not going to be disrupted at this current time.
Okay, perfect.
Going to be an interesting one to watch, especially if the guy in Alabama who said that other states are looking at BlockFi, especially if that comes to pass, should be an interesting one.